So we'll get to Nikki Haley in a second, but what do you, like, Vivek is very exciting to me. He's been as aggressive as Ron DeSantis in fighting the woke wars, but he also knows business better than virtually anybody I've seen throw their hat into the ring so far, or even talk about it. And the thing is, he's kind of like a Trump in that he's a businessman. Like, he knows how to run a successful business. He's done it. He's made, I think, over $1 billion just in his first 10 to 15 years out of law school. And he's a person of color, because there are certain boxes that are exciting to check as presidential candidacies go. What do you make of Vivek saying, I'm thinking about doing this very seriously?
Well, I mean, I love the guy and his critique of woke capitalism, but I don't think he has a realistic shot. And his entering the race really only, I think, ultimately accrues to the benefit of Donald Trump, because I think, the only way to take down Trump is for one candidate, namely DeSantis, to have a clean shot at him. And if there's all these other candidates in the race, you're going to replicate a situation like you had in 2016, where, Trump's going to get his solid sort of core 35 to 40% base. They're going to stick with him no matter what. And then all the other candidates will split the rest. I think if you want to take Trump down as the nominee, you really need, again, another candidate to kind of congeal the other, 55, 60% of the votes. And the more candidates that are in the race, the harder that's going to be to do. So I don't know what Vivek brings that DeSantis doesn't already have covered. DeSantis has declared that Florida is a place that woke goes to die. He's basically attacked woke in the classrooms. He's taken on the College Board with the AP courses. He took on the trans issue in classrooms with the, so-called Don't Say Gay bill. He's taking on BlackRock and ESG. I don't know that you can get a better carrier of the banner on sort of against woke capitalism than DeSantis. So I don't know what Vivek. I don't know what his joining the race does other than peel away a few votes from DeSantis.
Interesting. Well, yeah, certainly when it comes to fighting, the woke nonsense, they're both great. But, Vivek's got $1 billion and Ron DeSantis doesn't. He earned it himself, completely on his own. So when it comes to managing this struggling economy.
No one admires that more than me, Megyn. But no, DeSantis is going to be the most well-funded candidate probably in history. He's going to have huge amounts of money behind him. And I think the sort of the main question, that's going to affect this primary race for 24 is, again, just whether DeSantis can get a clean shot at Trump or not. I think if he can, then I think he's got a good chance of being the nominee. I think that if the race has a dozen different candidates and they're all peeling away 1 or 2% of the vote, again, I think that's to Trump's benefit. I would put Haley sort of in the same camp. I don't think she's got a serious path to the nomination. I think she's sort of a Bush-era Republican who's too out of touch with the base. Her main issue that she stressed in her announcement was this hawkishness towards Russia and China. Her most memorable line was about applying her stiletto heels to stomping on those countries. I don't think that's what the base is interested in right now. I think the base wants to hear how we're going to get out of this escalatory spiral that we're in with Russia. I think similarly, I think she's out of step with the base on corporate interests. She's not really comfortable at being a culture warrior on cultural issues. She's not really threatening to corporate interests. I think the base really wants a candidate who, like we talked about with DeSantis or like Vivek, is willing to take on those issues. So I don't think she has a serious path to nomination, but I do think she creates more of this sort of clutter in the race that makes it harder for DeSantis to get a clean shot. And I think that's exactly why Trump was perfectly willing to bless her running when she called him seeking his permission. So I think
totally
Trump
agree
wants
with that.
as many of these establishment candidates in the race as possible. He'd love to have Pompeo in there, Pence in there, and others, taking away establishment votes from DeSantis.
Yeah, Trump's got to gripe a little. Like he said, Nikki Haley has to follow her heart, if not her honor, because she said she would not run if Trump were running. And now, of course, she is. But we both know it's better for Trump to have her in. It's better for Trump to have as many in this race as possible. So he'd love DeSantis to back out, but he loves the Tim Scotts, the Nikki Haleys, the Vivek Ramaswamys, the Mike Pences. All of that is good for him. The thing about Nikki Haley's announcement, you mentioned the stiletto, that jumped out at me too. And let's talk about it. Here's the sound in part, shot 1.
Some people look at America and see vulnerability. The socialist left sees an opportunity to rewrite history. China and Russia are on the march. They all think we can be bullied, kicked around. You should know this about me. I don't put up with bullies. And when you kick back, it hurts them more if you're wearing heels.
Oh my God. I'm sorry. That was cringy. I like Nikki Haley, but I'm cringing. So first of all, know what party you're running for. You're not a Democrat. The Republican Party is not about identity politics. You go, girl. That's not our thing. Those of us who are on the right or center right, like me, we're sick of that nonsense. So, and she should know better. So why is she doing that?
Yeah, it's she can resurrect the catchphrase "I'm with her." Nikki Haley is the Republican that my liberal Democrat friends on the All In Pod wish the Republicans would nominate. They claim that if only the crazy Republicans would nominate a sane Republican like Nikki Haley, that they would finally be enticed to vote Republican.
Like John McCain?
Yeah, I have serious doubts about whether they would actually do that. I remember that when the Republicans nominated, a supposedly sane, respectable candidate like a McCain, like a Romney, the media still portrayed them as a Nazi. So
and the base stayed home.
And the base stayed home, exactly. So, I have my doubts about that. I think that, what you're seeing in that video is sort of the traditional neocon hawkishness, where every bad thing that happens in the world is the result of America's failure to project strength and power. That is their narrative. And I just think it's false. I mean, the American military is the most lethal military force that the world's ever created. The United States is the most powerful nation in the world by far. We don't have a failure to project strength. I think that conflict happens for other reasons. Certainly, it can happen because we fail to project deterrence, but it's not the only reason it happens. It happens because of misunderstandings. It happens because other nations have their own vital interests that they're willing to pursue. And it happens because we are sometimes not willing to engage in negotiation over those vital interests. And I think that has a lot to do with the current conflict in Ukraine. I think the base of the party is very concerned that we are escalating a conflict that Russia sees as existential for itself into a larger war. We have no vital interest in who rules the Donbass, the sort of eastern portion of Ukraine, and yet we are continuing to get more and more involved in that war. And I think that the eventual Republican nominee is going to speak to that. And you see, I think Trump is already wisely positioning himself on that issue as more of a dove, which is why I think he's perfectly happy for Haley to come in to the race as a hawk. He knows that's a loser.
Valentine's Day may be over, but it's never too late to give yourself the gift of looking great. And in this case, years younger. And it's easy thanks to Jennycell. Their most popular package, all their best stuff, is 70% off. And that includes the next generation of skincare technology, Jennycell's probiotic moisturizer, absolutely free. These super ingredients commonly found in yogurt can have the same nourishing benefits and goodness for your skin. Probiotic extracts target bad bacteria on the surface of your skin to restore balance to your skin's microbiome for a noticeably clearer complexion and visibly younger appearance. See those fine lines, wrinkles, skin redness, sagging jawline, even bags and puffiness disappear right before your eyes. And with its immediate effects product, see results in under 12 hours guaranteed or your money back. Go to jennycell.com/MK now. And during this extended blowout sale, every order at jennycell.com includes an exclusive beauty box with 2 luxury Jennycell gifts. Order now, limited quantities available, jennycell.com/MK, GENUCEL.com/MK. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.